Josh, let me ask you this: what are you hearing on Lance Heard? Because that's what everybody is curious about and everybody's excited about. And I don't know why my light just got a lot brighter. Lance Heard, what do you think?
I think he's going to be at Tennessee. I haven't heard of any other school being in the mix. So unless something falls through with whatever is being discussed behind the scenes for him to be at Tennessee, I think he'll play for the Vols this upcoming fall. Ole Miss was mentioned early on. Not aware that he ever visited. Oklahoma doesn't appear to be in the mix at this point. So unless there's a late suitor that comes in and gets him to reconsider or change his mind, I think Lance Heard is going to play at Tennessee.
I was told about 70-30 that Oklahoma was a player, but I mean everybody has some different information. What if it's so Tennessee, as you and I both believe it is to a different extent, why not now? Why not? Why hasn't he done it?
Well, that's why I don't think we can say 100% Tennessee, because until something's done, whatever has to be taken care of, if it's related to name, image, likeness, agreements, I don't know. That stuff is done in private. He's also been a private guy. He's not a social media player. He's not posting. He's not providing some kind of updates that make you wonder. It's funny that the silence is what makes people wonder, which is often what I think fans want, because they see players that are active on social media, posting cryptic messages, and that makes you wonder. So the fact that he hasn't done anything publicly, I think, has caused concern, when a lot of times that can be a good thing. But I've yet to hear anything other than Tennessee for Lance Heard in the last 7 or 8 days.
Now, Caleb Giroux, who covers recruiting for us, said the same thing. He said he hasn't heard. Sorry, he hasn't heard anything but Tennessee. Caleb, I want you to address this as well. But Josh, let me ask you: for a transfer portal class that lacks a little luster because they had to pay current players, and I think they overspent last year, in my opinion, what would Heard mean to this class? The transfer class, the entire class, how big of a pickup would that be?
I think it would be probably the most important piece. We talked about where Tennessee needs to be better from 23 to 24. Well, if that's on the offensive line, getting a guy that can play either tackle spot, but I think the anticipation is left tackle. Speaking of social media, John Campbell Jr. is posting workout videos showing him lining up on the right side in his stance. So that could indicate, okay, preparing for that side so that Lance can come in and play on the left side. That is some speculation, but that's also been some of the talk behind the scenes. But also, it's not just Heard being able to provide some help for this year. He has multiple years of eligibility. Tennessee has, to this point, not been able to find help on the offensive line through recruiting. Well, this would be adding a player from the 23 class who would be able to help right away and start for the next couple of years. And if he reaches his potential, that's it. He's off to the NFL. But it would help fill that hole that just continues to exist because nobody has proven himself yet as a high school recruit for Josh Heupel's staff. So you can improve the offensive line for this year. You raise the potential based on his talent as a 5-star guy a year ago, and you get multiple years of service. So there are a number of boxes that you're checking off if you're able to add Lance Heard.
Yeah, and Caleb, along those lines, to beat everybody else in the country and take a guy from LSU is a pretty big statement, regardless of the player, right?
So I think it's pretty clear Lance Heard is going to Tennessee because of the John Campbell working out at right tackle. That's actually kind of what spurred Dave and I talking about this morning, Josh, funny enough, because either they found an option at left tackle that we don't know about, or Lance Heard is committing to Tennessee. But no, I don't think it's as big as you guys think. And I'm just going to tell you guys something, and I'm going to go out. I said this 2 weeks ago, and I said I wouldn't change if he committed to Tennessee. I think Lance Heard is more of a diva than people want to let on. The guy left LSU because he didn't want to play anything but left tackle. And now he's going to Tennessee because he wants to specifically play left tackle. I believe Tennessee's opening up the NIL checkbook. I believe this is the type of thing that creates friction in the locker room. It's exactly what derailed Texas A&M. And honestly, it's funny. He's quiet on social media. I think we mistake social media presence with being a bit of a diva and lack of leadership and lack of intangibles. Because Boo Carter, everybody tried to pretend that Boo Carter was posting some cryptic stuff every time he was on social media. No, he was just promoting Tennessee the whole time. And Boo Carter seems like a great leader in the locker room. I'm sorry, I said it when I didn't think he was going to Tennessee, so I kind of have to be consistent now that I think he is going to Tennessee. I think Lance Heard's going to cause more trouble than just filling a void, quite honestly.
Well, I would disagree with that because I've seen guys come through the transfer portal. And Josh, I think the one great thing that Tennessee has in recruiting that is hard to replicate is their culture. So if Heard comes in and he's a malcontent, I think he's going to be booted pretty quick, or he's going to adjust when he realizes that everybody around him has his best interest at heart. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it doesn't work out. He has to prove himself. He's not been an SEC starter, so he is an unproven player coming in. We are talking about potential with Heard. So could there be problems? Sure, but this is just how it goes. I mean, players want money. If they are in demand, they want money. That's how it goes for all these schools that are recruiting at this kind of level. For Tennessee, that goes for guys that are available or guys that are thinking, do I stay or do I go? I mean, Tennessee has guys on the roster that could have gone elsewhere, but they wanted more money and it was given to them so that they would stay. And that's not a Tennessee thing. That's college football 23, 24 and beyond. So that's a possibility, Caleb, for sure. But I don't have anything to point to say that that's going to happen. Dave, you asked for this class, is he the biggest piece? How would he factor in? I mean, who is more important for Tennessee for the offense in 2024? I think Lance Heard is more important than getting Chris Brazzell. And I think highly of Chris Brazzell and his potential and what he could be. But if they don't get Heard, what are they doing?
Well, no,
what is the option? Maybe they go find somebody else, but Diego Pounds didn't visit from North Carolina, so that's not the answer. Gerald Mincy left. Obviously, he's not the answer. So they got to have somebody at tackle, left or right. They got to have somebody. And with multiple years, I mean, at some point, it's up to the coaching staff to identify the right guys for the roster and to have the culture. If Cooper were gone and Spraggins were gone and Amari Thomas were gone, I would have more concern about where's your culture from 22 to 3 to 4. But they have so many guys that it's their responsibility. So if they don't get it worked out, I think it's more about the people that are already in Knoxville than it is Lance Heard.
No, that's fair. Let me ask you guys both. And I'm going to go with Heard as well, that he would be the most significant one because he can play right away. That trumps high school like Matthews or any of the other highly rated guys, Merklinger or any of those other guys. So I think and Merklinger plays quarterback. So that's a key position, obviously. But if Heard's number one in this class, as far as most important when it's all said and done, signed, sealed, and delivered, I'm just curious, who's number two? I mean, who's number two that Tennessee should crow the most about? Is it Brazzell, as you would say, Josh, or is it Matthews because you get more out of him? Thoughts?
Oh, sorry. So we're not just talking transfers. We're talking about high schoolers coming in as well.
Yes. So you get a longer impact, but you don't get an immediate impact.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's Matthews, maybe it's Jordan Ross. Ross has incredible potential. What he's able to do immediately is a question, but it would be for Matthews as well. I think an underrated guy in this conversation would be Jermod McCoy. I think he has the physical makeup to fit in with what Tennessee needs as a corner playing in the SEC. Again, multiple years of eligibility. He has proven that he can play at the Power 5 level. He was at Oregon State, but we're not scoffing at the Pac-12 right now based on the offensive play out there this past season, right? So I don't know if McCoy is number two, but from the transfer class, he could be. It could be number one. From a need standpoint, they had to go get some help at corner. So McCoy can come in and play right away at a position that Tennessee has to replace a bunch of guys. So I would not overlook him. But Jordan Ross has as much potential of anybody that is coming into Tennessee's 2024 roster.
I'll give you my answer. I'll give you my answer because I think he's going to start if he lives up to his billing. But I'll do it via a knock-knock joke. How's that?
Okay.
Love it.
Okay. Josh, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Boo-hoo.
Don't cry, Josh. Boo Carter's going to be a great player.
Okay.
Dave, I was with you. I'm actually kind of, both took mine because I was leaning Boo Carter or Jamal McCoy. Because I actually agree with you, Josh. Jamar McCoy coming to Oregon State. I always have red flags about Power 5 transfers unless the coach is fired or the Power 5 school is relegated. And Oregon State's about to be relegated. They're barely Power 5 now because of what happened, and their coach left. But just to be a little avant-garde, I'll throw in Jacoby Thomas from MTSU because the safety coming in, I think he's going to fill the other safety void across Boo Carter, who's going to start. But we are underrating, like, what's more important this year? If they get Lance Heard, here's a quick question. What's more important? The players they got returning or the transfer? Or what's a bigger impact on the program? The players that they were able to keep coming back for 2024 or the players they got through the transfer portal? What was a bigger impact on the Vols?
I think it's clearly the dudes that they kept, right, Josh?
Yeah, because Cooper's so important at center for a young quarterback coming in. Plus, he's really good. Omar Norman Lott and Amari Thomas are potential NFL guys. So to have them back, if they were gone, I don't know what they're doing on the interior. That's still a big question for 2025. So yeah, the guys coming back to me is still the biggest deal. But yeah, if all those guys had moved on as was anticipated 3 or 4 months ago, that also would have affected what Tennessee would have done in the transfer portal because they would have had greater needs. They would have had more resources available that weren't being allocated to the guys coming back. But as it stands, I think the guys coming back would be more important.
Yeah, I agree. It's the guys coming back. Very similar to how when Nickelback needed a lead guitarist, they decided to just promote Ryan Peake from within, and that's why they're the greatest rock band of the 2000s.
Nickelback is the crappiest band that's ever been. Josh, anything else, sir? Thoughts on Nickelback? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Great band. Love them.
Yeah, Caleb reminded me of the 03 Miami game, and I do have respect for that.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff.